Yeah, that's right. It's nothing but Netflix. I'm your host, Chappell, back again to talk about another hot Netflix show. And this time, it's going to be the Netflix show Sirens, which has been sitting in the top 5 or 10 Netflix shows for a while. I've heard good reviews, I've heard bad reviews. And then I once talked to AJ, and he said it's the best trash ever or something like that. AJ, man.
Hey, yeah, it's trash, but it's good trash. It's fun
Mhm.
trash. It's like it wants to be, I think, and it thinks it's better than it is, which is the best kind of trash, I think.
Yes. So AJ saw the trash and then, hey, I want to come on Nothing But Netflix to talk about this. Are you watching it? I'm like, bet, yeah, that's perfect. But when I saw Sirens, only one person really came to mind. I was like, who could I get to talk trash about these rich white ladies? And I thought of Jess Sterling. Jess Sterling, welcome.
I love talking trash about rich white people. It's my
Mm-hmm.
brand.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
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 From
This isn't
Succession
exactly
to
Severance.
Sirens. If
Yeah,
it's
this
an S
isn't
show, I'm down.
Succession. Yeah, I feel like this is a little slow for you. You're used to like almost like political intrigue with rich white folks, but this time, it's just a lot of drama, a lot of mess.
Yeah, it's a meandering rich white person story.
And I had a great time watching. I'm not gonna lie. I went in thinking, okay, it's gonna be fun trash, and I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, the fact that it's only 5 episodes was perfect for me. And in and out, you got the gist of the story, and then it ends, and you're like, yeah, I feel like that's a thing that happened, and I'm okay with that. Jess, what were your overall thoughts about Sirens?
I think, first of all, I agree with you. 5 episodes was you're in, you're out, you're done. That was a good
Good.
amount. Sometimes the episodes ran a hair on the long side, in my opinion. I
Mhm.
feel like when you have something billed as like a dramedy, 45 minutes I think is plenty. But yeah, when you see the cast list of Megan Fahey, Millie Alcock, Glenn Howerton, you're like, yeah, sure, of course. I am there, Julianne Moore, obviously. I'm
Obvious.
there. I love strong female leads. That is also something I'm super interested in. I think overall, I would say the acting was stronger than the story was. Like, I feel like Millie Alcock and Megan Fahey and Julianne Moore all are like acting above what the script is giving them. So
Mhm.
it's not a bad thing. And it was like an enjoyable experience. Yeah, I'd say it went by pretty quickly.
AJ, what was it about this show that made you stop and watch it? Because if I was guessing which show you were watching on Netflix, I wouldn't say Sirens would be at the top of the list.
Well, I mean, I spend weekends sometimes at home with the wife, and usually it's what she wants to watch. I'm more than happy to join in. She doesn't subject me to everything, but I'll tap in for a Secret Lives of Mormon Wives every now and then, or an episode of
Hmm.
You here and there. But this is one, like, yeah, with the star power. Certainly, I was willing to give it a try. My feeling was that this was like two different shows with two different tones. So how many permutations were no, four different types depending on what scene you were in. But like I felt it was one show when it started, and then halfway through it switched to a completely different show, which was weird in and of itself. And I think that's where you get, like, the acting was better than the writing, because I felt the writing didn't really know which type of show it wanted to be. But also, it was one show with all the names that you've been talking about, and that was one show. And then there was a second show with all the secondary characters, which I wanted to watch more. I just wanted to watch 8 episodes of them. I thought that was a much
Hmm.
better show.
I mean,
Yeah,
Jose, right? We love Jose.
Jose.
Jose is an icon. Give
Yes.
me a show
Jose,
just with Jose.
Hmm.
Jose, Patrice, the rest of the staff, the trio of the Greek chorus there, the the Stepford sisters,
Yes.
Yes, yes.
I
the, the
totally
the boat
agree.
captain. Like, I wanted a show
Hmm.
with just all the side characters, and I would have been happy. Like, to me, that was like an Abbott Elementary that was going on behind the
Yes.
scenes of this high class drama, and I wanted to watch that documentary.
Hmm. Yeah. I want to be a part of the group chat. You know, the one where he's using to talk shit. I definitely want to get those notifications.
Yeah.
This was this was funny. I knew that it was going to have a lot of star power. I saw the trailer, but I didn't realize that it was going to be a dramedy. I thought like, oh, okay, this is going to be more in the lines of maybe like a Big Little Lies or something like that, where it's like it's the powerful rich white ladies, but they're about that action. It's a little funny, but not because of no jokes, you know. But here this was clownery, you know, and I totally enjoyed it. It was light. It didn't take a lot of brain cells to watch it, but AJ, you make a really good point. I don't really know what I was watching about halfway through because there were moments where this felt like, oh, is this like some supernatural? We have magical powers. Is
Yes.
that where we're going? And it was like, no, that's not it. It's just like, oh, or is it? You know? And so I enjoyed both of those things, right? Like the almost like the succession of like who's going to be up next? Is this woman going to be able to is this a cult show? Is she going to be the new head of the cult? Is she going to get lost in it? Is her sister going to get dragged into the cult and then not, you know, forget how to get out of the cult? I was thinking all of that. And then I was like, or is it just like magical powers?
Well, that's
Turns
the
out
thing.
really
Like,
none of the above.
Yeah.
yeah, the first like 2 episodes was kind of like you said, it was like, okay, this is a sister. She's trying to rescue her other sister from what could be a cult or could be a supernatural kind of based cult where like mystical powers and also there was like this undertone, there's like this Get Out vibe with the rich white people that they're, you know, holding auctions and stuff. And it was definitely, oh, we're going to the sunken place. Like, is there hypnotism involved? Like there's one point where, you know, Megan Fahey's character is like, well, I don't dream. And yet the episode starts and it's like, oh, it's a dream. But no, it actually isn't a dream. It's actually happening. Like, I'm like, can we pick a tone, please, to all of this? Is it a murder mystery? No, it's actually not a murder mystery. It's a slapstick comedy with deep, dark, personal reveals at the end that, like, serial tragic. Like, what is this? What was this show?
Jess, what was this?
Yeah. Especially, I've had so many questions about when Devin walks in on Julianne Moore's character Kiki, which, like, of all names, good God,
I love it so much. I love it so much.
it's like, of course, her name is Michaela, and they're like, call me Kiki. But yeah, when Devin sees Kiki in the bath and they have this whole interaction, and then suddenly she kind of like wakes up in a dress store with the 3 other like women that Kiki seemed to have just like plucked off the streets. I thought she had been drugged but we never really get a clear answer on that. I totally agree, AJ. I think the show was a little all over the map in terms of what it was trying to do. I'm like, is this a sister story? Is this a trauma story? Is this a cult story? Is this a murder mystery? It's like, but there's birds. Like, there's a lot of bird references and bird motifs and bird stuff. Like, I was so lost because then Glenn Howerton playing Ethan, Millie Alcock's love interest, he shows up on my screen, and naturally I'm just laughing my ass off because he's Glenn Howerton and he's hilarious. But I was very lost when it came to the tone of the show. And I think by like episode 3, I kind of just decided I didn't really care what the tone was. I was just like along for whatever ride they wanted to bring me on.
I was convinced this was magic. I was convinced. I was like, oh, they're calling it Sirens.
Yes.
These women have powers, y'all. And it's something to do with this bird cult. And you got to call Kiki. And then you got the hey heys. And I love hey hey hey. That's kind of my thing. I was like, hey hey. Okay, I start to feel attacked. But I was convinced. There's a moment where they're on the beach and, you know, Devin's character like looks over. She's like, stop following me. And the guys just stop. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe they just stopped because she yelled at them to stop following. But I'm also like, or did they? You know, is there something there? Until the man showed that he did not walk out into the ocean and drown, I was like, okay, now I see that there's no real power here. But it felt like it throughout. And so that's the show I was watching. I don't know. I was very surprised when it turned out that none of that mattered.
Just picturing you waiting for like someone to admit to being a witch, and then it never happens.
I was like, eventually someone's going to say, oh, Kiki did this thing, and now we're all sirens, and we have this power over. And I mean, in a way, she does kind of, you know, siren her way up the ranks to the top of the cult. But I don't. It didn't give me what I wanted. I really thought this was like some witchcraft or something.
Yeah, I think maybe if the help weren't so darn entertaining as comic relief, that might have played. I mean, because there was this kind of like Downton Abbey upstairs downstairs kind of class struggle thing also going on in the background, where like these rich people are completely unrelatable. And they're shot in this super soft focus, and they're like, when they talk, everything they say has import simply because I am uttering the words. And then you go to the other people are like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I think one of my favorite characters in the whole thing was the third wheel in Megan Fahey's boyfriends. Like, she had the boyfriend from Buffalo, and she had the boat captain, and then she just had this like
The landscaper.
gardener,
Yeah.
landscaper guy who's like, she has to has this like one night stand with, and he completely falls in love with her, hence kind of the siren part. And maybe maybe I can see thematically how it's like men put their own issues onto the women. Like, she wasn't trying for anything, but in his own head she was, and he was lured into her. But that's his fault. That's no power she has. It's only his stupidity or lack of self-worth. But the fact that he then proceeds to be in every scene from there on out, following her in the background, I just thought that was hysterical. But it was so countertone. Like, you have that going on at the same time. You have these really deep, dark scenes with the father who has dementia and doesn't remember what an ass he was. What maybe a sexual predator to his own daughter, even. And yet he. You're playing this whole thing for laughs and like waka waka waka, and anytime he needs to have clarity, he has clarity. And then as soon as like you have this really deep emotional thing, it's like, I don't know who I am anymore, waka waka. It's like, oh,
yeah,
sloppy.
yeah. There was a lot going on. There was a lot. It was a lot. I'll give you that for sure. Especially when the dad shows up, because there are undertones. You're right that like something happened. We find out about Simone, who's been living her best life in this cult, essentially, on the mansion. She basically has decided, I too want to be a rich white lady, and so she signed up. She showed up. She applied for the job, and she started to leave little bits and pieces out of her life so that she could get that job. She just had to kind of assimilate really quickly. And she does. She does a really good job. But as we start to find out about the things that she's been hiding, Jess, her dad sounded awful. And the fact that her boyfriend decided, hey, let me go get that guy and bring him to this island so that I can propose, that was the biggest shock for me, because I had no clue that's where we were going.
Yeah, it was really interesting to see this show that felt very aimless try to tackle really heavy topics like child abuse and suicide and all these other issues where, Simone was left with her dad, who was seemingly super depressed from his wife's passing, and also he's like an alcoholic, and so it's not a good time for her. Like, they go really deep into like she wasn't being fed, she wasn't being bathed, like was being sent to school that way, and her sister is kind of the one that comes in to rescue her and drops out of college, has like 10 jobs just to get through. It was really interesting to see them try to have that be like the grounding of the show. Like, that is the backstory, that is what everyone's working with. Simultaneously, you have their father, this character Bruce, who you feel bad for because he has dementia, and that's sad and that's difficult, and you feel like you honestly kind of just feel bad for everyone, because Devin shouldn't have to take care of him, but if she doesn't, who's going to? Simone shouldn't be expected to then drop her entire life and come home and take care of this guy who abused her when she was a kid. Like, all of it is bad for all of them, and you just want all of them to be able to escape. And apparently Simone's only way of escaping is to work for this lady Kiki, who's like kind of a monster. Like, truly, the pink megaphone girl. If I worked at a place and some girl just whipped out a little pink megaphone and started shouting at me like, hey, I know you brought all those chairs down 1,000 stairs to the beach, but you have to schlep them all the way back up, I'm quitting. I quit. I'm doing worse things than sending a little nasty message about her in a group chat. I'm gone.
Yeah. It's tough too, because I wanted I wanted Kiki to be the bad guy so bad, but Simone was just awful. She sucked. Like to the fact where she's getting fired, she's getting terminated, and all the staff is clapping. Like they are celebrating. Jose's
that was
playing,
Jose's
like,
favorite day, his best
yeah.
day.
He's playing conga over the loudspeakers and stuff like that. Like they were ready for her to go. They weren't acting like that toward Kiki. It's like she found someone to go be the bad guy while she could just kind of remain this kind of like Stepford, perfect wife. So I didn't know who to root for, AJ. I guess I was staunchly in the corner of Devin, but even some of the stuff Devin was doing, I was looking at her like, I don't know, should we be doing these things? AJ, did you have a strong feeling about our leads?
Yeah, I think Devin's supposed to be the character you're rooting for, but like her goal is to save the sister who doesn't want to be saved.
Right.
And a sister who, so it's like, okay, so your aim isn't really necessarily a positive for the rest of the characters in this story. Like, just leave them, like, get your own life in order, sure. And maybe you think that, okay, but all right, she meets Morgan, the ship captain, and it's like, okay, Captain Morgan's gonna be like, she's gonna rescue herself from this situation that she's in. She's gonna, all these realizations come out, and like, okay, she doesn't have to be the one to take care of her father. Maybe we can let social services handle that. Maybe, we shouldn't forgive him for some of the things that he's done. Dementia be damned. Like, I get it, but he did some pretty awful things. So rescue yourself rather than rescue your sister who doesn't want to be rescued. That should be what we're rooting for. But then at the same time, it's like, she's not a nice person.
She sucks. And she's in a cult. Yeah, it's like, and she's in a cult. You like naturally you want to rescue somebody from the cult. But when she's begging not to be rescued, I'm like, yeah, that's typical cult stuff. That's what somebody in a cult would say. But then when you find out why she doesn't want to go back home, like Jess pointed out, she's neglected and she had to go to child protective services. She was in foster care. She apparently some bad things happened to her in foster care as well. She kind of alludes to it, but doesn't get specific. And her sister is aware of all these things. Jess, she knows this happened, and she's still like, yeah. But don't you want to take care of dad? Isn't that most important? I'm kind of with her, like, F dad, I don't want to go.
I think the thing we can agree on in this is that this show doesn't really have heroes, but it does have villains. I feel like none of these characters are characters that you kind of, at the end of the show, are like, yay! Like, they're, besides Jose. Obviously, King Jose, obviously. We're all rooting for him. But I think it's really interesting because I'm with you. I was like, oh, Kiki is the villain, right? Like, she has this really weird relationship with her assistant. Like, this whole situation, she's like, seems to be mean to the help or mean by proxy to the help, using kind of Simone as the mouthpiece. But then Kevin Bacon enters the chat. Okay, Kevin Bacon, he's here. Mr.
About
Kel.
as deep into this podcast as he was in the series when he arrived.
Right.
Yeah. So Kevin Bacon appears, and he is Michaela's husband, and we find out that he is in fact the like rich one. She became rich when she married him, and we root around in the mud a little bit to hear about, oh, he had this first wife, but she's like mysteriously gone, and everyone thinks Kiki killed her, right? Shoved her off a cliff. And oh, Kiki's a horrible person. She won't even let him see his kids and his grandkids and all this other stuff. And it turns out, no, he's just a problematic old white man like most, like he is no different. He latches on. He's like, oh, out with the old, in with the new, right? Like when when Jose said to Kiki, like, I'm sorry, ma'am, you can't fire me. I'll be here long after you're gone. I was like, oh, he did. He did, though. But we find out that he's done this before. Like, he's replaced his first wife with Kiki, and now he's replacing Kiki with Simone. Like, he's the ultimate big bad. Am I right?
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. Because they were doing some awful stuff, but at the end of the day, he was still the one at the top of the pyramid. Like, I think that it looked like Kiki was up there, and he was almost like this outlier. Like, oh yeah, she does her thing with her cult, but I'm here and I'm normal. And then he stops being normal. At first it's like, oh yeah, she wouldn't let me see my kid. Then it was like, well, my kids don't like her. Then it was like, oh, well, my kids don't like her because I cheated on their mom with her. So they really are mad at her because of me. And then that weird moment where he goes and kisses Simone. That was the way, like, oh, okay, you did it. You slipped. You pulled off the mask, Kevin Bacon. I knew you weren't to be trusted. AJ, Kevin Bacon popping up here was perfect. He was like, it was perfect in this role.
He was, and it's just, if you take the whole, because again, we had that whole mystical stuff for the first 2 episodes that kind of went away. Like, okay, it's not mystical anymore, but there is that kind of, if you throw back to the Greek references that they're trying to do here, he's the one who's always in the penthouse, looking out on, Mount Olympus kind of thing. Like, he's kind of like the gods toying with all the people below him, and he'll take whatever, form he wants to get the, whether it's, a swan, Zeus turning into a swan, or him turning into a quagga,
Yeah. Yeah, the official animal of Family Guy. That was all I thought when I heard they were going quahogging. I was like, I've heard that before.
But he lets us believe, and the show obviously wants us to believe that he is fallen victim to the siren. When no, he's the siren, and it's not his song, it's his cash. That's what's calling all the women to him. Yet he lets his wife get the bad reputation. He lets her be the bad guy. He's more than happy to just throw her away when he's done with her, and move on to the next model. And so, yeah, of course he is the big bad. We just don't know it. We don't even know he exists for 3 episodes. But when he finally gets there, like, he does it. Even when he's doing it, he's like, oh, oopsie.
Yeah,
sorry, my bad.
And the fact that he switches her out so seamlessly. They were at a dinner gala, Jess, and the gala is mid-gala. Like they're talking to Kiki. He says, Kiki, can I talk to you real quick? He walks her to the other room, takes her to HR, grabs her things, and walks her out the door, comes out with Simone, and everybody just starts clapping like it's normal.
Oh, yeah, out with the old wife, in with the new wife, ? Like, here's the thing. I've been new, okay? Kevin Bacon cannot fool me. He plays a villain in, like, everything. Do we not remember David Lindhagen from Crazy Stupid Love? I'll never forget it. Kevin Bacon is always a baddie, and he catches you off guard because you're like, oh, Kiki is the worst. She's just like this type A nutcase who's obsessed with these birds. And, we, especially at the end of the first episode, when for seemingly no reason, we have, it doesn't make any sense now, but Kevin is like, let me look through this telescope and just see this menacing look on Kiki's face as she's holding a dead bird that flew through a window. Like, okay, so we're all led to believe that Kiki is the real villain, especially Kevin Bacon walks in, he's smoking weed, he's sharing it with people, he's getting called Big Cheese. Like, you're not thinking he's the villain, but of course he is. The minute he kissed Simone, I was like, why, man? Why did you have to do that? Like, I was on your side.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's the true villain, and I don't know. I do. Can we talk about like the ending with Simone? Because I kind of feel a couple ways about it. Like,
okay.
On one hand, it makes sense, right? Like, she wants out. She will do anything to get out, including, like, if it doesn't serve you, set it free. See you later, Kiki. But is she gonna marry this man?
Oh,
is that what's happening?
She's next up. And I feel awful for Jose because Jose almost got rid of her. And now,
oh my God.
Now she's got more power. This is the worst possible thing. Now we know she can't fire him. I'm assuming that's still going to be in the contract. But geez, it was like, I thought someone had a happy ending here. And no one did. Not even the staff. This was crazy. AJ, it's the seamless transition that gets me. She's like the assistant to the main girlfriend, probably the fiance, that quick, and the people that are around her loyal subjects, just fall in line.
Yes. I mean, if there's 2 ways I can look at this. Like, the one way is, he represents power, he represents wealth, and anyone who's going to step to him is going to be immediately booted from that community. So of course no one's going to say anything. Everyone's just going to play along. if you kind of want to big picture this and take it from the aspect of, so Kiki represents just women in general and how they're trying to recapture, she's trying to recapture her youth, the thing that attracted, got her to be with Kevin Bacon in the first place, which is why she embraces Simone so much. It's the youth that she can never have again. And when she finally accepts that she's no longer that person by letting Simone go, that's when she's of no more use to Kevin Bacon. Like that's when it's like, no, I want youth, and you've now admitted that you've moved past that youth. You're no longer youth. You gots to go. But now she can live her real life. Now she no longer, going after that. She can become a lawyer again. She can do the things that she used to enjoy doing that she didn't do. So she doesn't have to live in this world anymore. But I do think that there's always going to be the next generation of youth to come in and be the powerful ones, to be the snooty ones, to be the ones who pull strings. That's just the natural course of things. So of course someone has to fill that role. We just didn't realize we were watching the person taking over through the course of the series.
Yeah, it was like a long job interview this entire season. It was like Simone really was like
Pretty much.
auditioning. Yeah, she's like auditioning for the role of Kiki. At first he's like, oh, she's kind of like mini Kiki, but then they have that really human moment, or at least it seemed human, when they go cohogging and they are bonding and talking, and it's like in that moment he's like, oh, okay, you're not Kiki Jr. There's a person in there. I need to transform you into Kiki. Like I need to go in and corrupt you. And so that's why that kiss caught me off guard by so much. It was just like I didn't realize that that's where we were going. But speaking of Kiki, Jess, Julianne Moore in this role, somehow it worked. I don't know what it was, but it's like maybe I don't know. You brought up Crazy Stupid Love, but she's so good. She's such a good actress that there were moments where I was like, yeah, this is a cult, and I can see why you joined it. And other times where I was like, oh my god, I feel so bad for her, even if she is running a cult. Can we just allow it so she'll be happy?
Yeah, it's interesting because the role of Kiki almost feels like it should be played by Nicole Kidman, because like
so cold.
There's this cold detachment, right? But Julianne Moore is actually perfect for it because she does have that kind of gear of cold detachment, but there's this underlying like sadness and like softness with the character. I'm thinking of this scene where Bruce is having kind of an episode. He doesn't really understand what's going on, and he thinks she is his late wife, and so they're dancing together, and she's kind of telling him about her fertility problems, and it really softened the character of a Kiki in a huge way for me. So I think Julianne Moore is like the perfect person for this role. The thing that I'm maybe most annoyed about is I feel like they were setting up, at least through the first few episodes, they were really setting up this like sexual tension between Simone and Kiki. Like they're sleeping in the same bed, sharing gum is like
that was disgusting.
I can't. Why? I would never do that. I have a husband. Not happening. Like it's disgusting. But they like I felt like that was almost a missed opportunity. Like I felt like they could have gone there and they didn't for whatever reason, when they had almost set up like breadcrumbs of like this is where it was leading, and then it just kind of fell off like some of the other stuff in the story.
The cuddling for sure.
Yeah.
The cuddling was where I was like,
I agree.
This isn't appropriate. Yeah.
I think that would have been a more interesting choice, because I was, I was disappointed for the story direction when like, oh, he's going to fall in love with her. But I do think what they were seeding there, maybe I'm giving them way too much credit, but I do know this came from a play and everything. And usually in that situation, you do have these overarching themes that you're working towards. Again, it was like, it wasn't so much that they were having this like falling in love romance situation. It was more like, they were two aspects of the same person. That's why they're sleeping in the same bed, because she represents the youth of Kiki's agedness. So when Kiki's doing this wonderful, like you said, Jess, this wonderful moving thing was like, yes, I understand everything you're going through, and I'm going to confess to you that I've had fertility problems and all this. While we see this as a, wow, that's great. And even Kevin Bacon plays it off that way of, wow, wow, you are such a great person. What he's really saying is, yeah, that's right. You're infertile. I need a fertile one. Get out. Because he's that horrible a person. So when we see the humanity in her from that situation, and he's seeing the flaws in her from that same conversation and realizes, oh, yeah, no, she's got to go. Time has come. So I think that, to me, yeah, that's how I got through the last 2 episodes. It's like, once I realized, oh, Kevin Bacon's the bad guy, I just like looked at everything he did as being like from this like evil thing. So even the things that we were moved by, like he was not moved by. He was just using as the next move on his chessboard.
Yeah, it kind of makes me wonder if that's why there was so much security. It's like I wonder if Kiki's like monitoring this man. She doesn't want him to switch up. Like she like any second, because remember she's having Simone even follow him. Like, no, you got to go follow him. Like she's so aware of the fact that he could be having an affair. He's saying he's going to Japan. He doesn't go to Japan. She's like lining up the boxes, one from Japan and one from Soho. It's like it was so, she was so locked in on like, let me make sure that he is not stepping out on me. I'm thinking, yeah, because she knows her time is running out. She knows this man. She married him, so she's been stuck with him for a while, and she's like, okay, I'll keep Simone close to me. I got backup now. Now I can handle all the things around my house. And he's just like slowly luring Simone to him. And she's almost kind of pushing Simone toward him. Like even, when she goes to follow him, it's because Kiki said so. And so there are definitely moments where I'm like, yeah, Kevin Bacon's the bad guy, but Kiki's not making this any better for anybody. She's definitely leaning into the drama of it. And she's so funny. When when Devin shows up on the premises, Jess, she's like, oh yeah, she swam here. And she goes, are you part mermaid? And I was like, is she serious? I'm telling you, witchcraft.
Yeah, it was interesting. I at least liked that they gave the character of Michaela the bird conservation aspect, because it was really obvious. Like, she does care. Like, that's what she cares about. And she's so screwed over in this prenup that, like, because she wasn't able to give him children, she's totally screwed if they ever get a divorce. And, like, the only way she'll be able to get kind of good things from the divorce is if she catches him cheating. Like, once we find that out, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm on her side, because that's messed up. That is some seriously. And worst part is Kiki was a lawyer, so like, girl, read your prenup. What are you doing? Hopefully Simone is smarter than that if she does end up marrying Kevin Bacon. Like, read that prenup, get yourself a good one. Don't have it have anything to do with your fertility, because that's not right. That's messed up. So yeah, I do think especially the final scene we get with Kiki and Devin on the boat, I felt like softened that character in a major way, where she was able to be like, yeah, that, I got 13 years, I guess. Like, that's that. Hopefully Simone fares better. It's like quite a sad ending, because everyone's kind of going their separate ways. Simone and Devin are like, oh, we'll meet up in New York. It's like, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. That's not happening. Like, poor Devin is stuck in Buffalo. Like, we know why Simone. No one wants to be in Buffalo. No offense to Buffalo people who live in Buffalo, but it's cold. They get multiple feet of snow at a clip. Like, of course she left. Come on.
Buffalo. Speaking of Winterfell, let's talk about Rhaenyra in this role. Jess, I'm not very familiar with Millie's work, but this was fun. I enjoyed this so much. I was like, because this is, to me, Rhaenyra, and so the whole time I'm like, let's see what's going to happen. I don't think I've seen anything else where she was a major figure in it. And so, what did you think watching the portrayal of Devin from your point of view? Because I feel like you might be a little bit more familiar with her work.
Yeah, so I think both Megan Fahey and Millie Alcock were really incredible. I think any scenes that it was just the two of them and it was a more like emotional scene talking about their past, talking about their childhoods, I felt like, wow, like they're actually really, really like elevating what I viewed to be kind of a mid script. The emotionality, you really felt like they were sisters. Like, I felt like they
Yeah.
had that kind of bond back and forth. I really felt it. I've seen Millie Alcock in House of the Dragon. Megan Fahey, I think for me, I most remember her from White Lotus.
Yeah,
Obviously this is
same.
a very different character than that, but
Mhm.
Devin is just the Hot Mess Express. Like, she is messy in the best way. Her sneaking, and I put this in air quotes, sneaking around the property is everything. That's where the comedy is. Megan Fahey cracks me up on screen constantly. And I feel like Millie Alcock did a really great job at kind of like grounding the show when it did feel all over the place. The emotionality of both of their characters, I think, grounded it in a really good way.
Yeah. AJ, you familiar with these two actresses?
Yeah, I mean, I saw the first season of House of Dragon, and you know, there's that uncomfortableness watching someone so young, who's so believable in such a mature, beyond their years role. You know, I harken back to Leon the Professional and Natalie Portman when she's like, 12, 13 and playing someone who you're like, oh, she's like 19, right? No, she's not 19. There's a problem here. It's very uncomfortable, and I think she's too young for this role in a way, because it's like, again, uncomfortable. But since we're saying Kevin Bacon's the bad guy for going for someone that young, it actually works. I think at its advantage that it does work a little bit better for me. I thought she was fantastic. I think the sister interplay was absolutely fantastic as well. I do think the acting elevated and kept me watching, where like the script, the serious parts in the script wouldn't have worked with lesser actors in the roles. And so I think they were able to pull it off in a way. Like, this is not a perfect show by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think their performances do elevate the material, like Jess said. Yeah.
I liked when Simone pulls up on Kiki at first. We get the flashback of her and how they kind of met. And, she basically, I looked you up online. I saw some videos of you on YouTube. I feel like I just need to be under your wing. I need to be in the same space with you. And Kiki invites her in. And, up to that point, they were really pushing that this is a cult. This is definitely a cult. And when you see the way that she's kind of just like taken in, it was like people don't just join cults, by a mistake. It's like they're looking for something to join. They're missing something, and so they go out and seek. They're looking for a cult leader. And so she traveled miles, like I said, left Winterfell all the way to this place just so that she could be engulfed in the cults. And so whenever someone's trying to pull her out, she's like, no, I asked for this. This isn't, I thought this was, a TikTok dance group. And then I turned out and I was, at church. Like, no, this lady saw what they were about and was like, I want to go do that. And so I totally believed it. I agree with you that the acting was so good that it made me believe it. And then Megan Fahey, of course, I know her from The White Lotus, and I thought she was probably, to me, she had the best performance of anybody in The White Lotus that season. And so I came in with really high hopes of watching her, and she was just a totally different character. We will find out that she's basically an alcoholic. She has picked up alcoholism from her dad, partly probably because it's genetic, but also because she's gone through a lot of trauma as well. And she has decided that somehow she's been sober for 90 days. She's not sober. She has not been sober for 6 months. She's lying. This woman has a drinking problem, and whenever she cannot drink or smoke, she has sex with random people to kind of just quell her anxiety. It's like that part of the show was like, it was funny, but I wasn't expecting it. So when she's on the boat and she tells the boat captain, like, well, look, I know you don't want me to smoke, but I got nothing to do with my mouth for 2 hours. And then we see what happens. I was like, oh, that's what this is?
Yeah, I was a little taken aback, especially the landscaping guy too. Like, she hardly ever says 2 words to these men to convey what she wants. It's just kind of like assumed, I guess. I don't know. She just gives them one like raise of the eyebrow, and it's down to Pound Town. Like, that's what's happening. Yeah, it was really interesting. I think like also just having her constantly wearing like black, and she's always has like smudgy eyeliner on, as compared to Simone, who just looks like a Stepford wife constantly with the headbands and everything. Yeah, she was really she was the comic relief. Again, like I just need to put out a formal complaint to shows to stop calling themselves dramedies, okay?
Right.
Like if you're I know we've talked to death the comedy argument of is the bear a comedy? Like we've all
Right.
been there, we've experienced it. But I need to take the other side and be like, stop calling dramas dramedies because you're setting up an unfair expectation of something to be extremely funny. If it just has a few quippy moments, that's just TV, baby. Like that
Yeah.
doesn't need to be a dramedy, okay? Like you can have a drama with some comedy and not call it a dramedy. Because I think when you have this much trauma in a show, like we're talking like child abuse, suicide, like all depression, alcoholism. When you got like at least 5 big, headline problems, I don't think we should be including the word comedy in there anymore. I think we could lose it. We could just say drama.
Yeah. I don't
Well,
think
and also
anybody
on the other
considers
side of
Grey's
that,
Anatomy a comedy. Go ahead, AJ.
yeah, on the other side of that same coin, it's like the choices they made for the punchlines in the comedy scenes, like when Devin wakes up in jail with this absolutely phenomenal another side
I
character,
love
this
her.
woman who
Love
happens to
her.
be in the cell with her, she was also in Only Murders. She was one of the director sisters in that as well. She's, I forget her name, but it's very funny.
Catherine
But
Cohen,
what was
she's
she,
incredible.
Catherine, what is she talking about? She's like, oh yeah, I was in NXIVM. I played volleyball with Keith. So they're undercutting the whole cult thing right then and there, saying like, no, that's not what the show's about. And it's like, okay, but is it or isn't it? Because your whole first 2 episodes were setting up that and like with one scene, you're like going, yeah, but it's not really about a cult. Okay, but then let's not have it be about a cult then. Or don't undercut the mystery. So that's where the script, I think, fell apart. Whereas like I said, it was 2 different shows pushed together and smooshed together. I liked both shows. And I do think at the end of the day, they did coexist in a way that was still satisfying for reviewing. But I just think there could have been so much more done for the show on a whole to elevate it. This is not one of those, oh, I wonder if it's going to get all the Emmy noms. No, it's not. But maybe it could have if somehow at the end we see that Kiki had been like engineering, like she had agency and she'd been engineering her escape this whole time by luring Simone in. If that had been playing counter to what Devin was doing, it's like, no, I need her here to take my place. Otherwise I can't get out. That might have been an more interesting end to that conversation on the boat. Like, oh, no, this is all according to my plan because now I'm free. Thank you very much. By the way, here's another check. Cash it too,
Yeah. Even when she just point blank tells Devin, Kiki tells Devin, yeah, they're probably not gonna last. Like I made it 13 years, but they're probably not gonna last. It's like, oh, okay, so what are we doing then? Like I feel like that was like kind of like it's such a dreary ending. It didn't like inspire any like real feelings. It was just kind of like, well, damn, we tried something and that didn't work out. But there were other twists that I thought were done pretty well. I love the Ethan twist. I love the fact that it's like he's this playboy. He switches them out every year for a new model. Everybody's warning her. For one, Kiki forbids it because she's like, I don't want to lose my help, basically. And then Kevin Bacon's character, Peter, he comes in and he basically is like, oh yeah, my guy is not ready to settle down. Only to find out, Jess, that Ethan is very ready to settle down, and his
He's
readiness
too ready
to settle down, is the problem. This man goes to go get her dad's permission in person to propose to her, and everybody else thinks she's like everyone else thinks she's done.
Yeah, well, the problem, Ethan, is that I understand you're like 50 or whatever, but most people in their 20s aren't looking for their dad's permission to get married anymore because it's not like 1975. So that was mistake number 1. Mistake number 2 is that you have no idea what her relationship is like with her father, so maybe don't bring him to an island. And yeah, it's almost like Kiki, right? Like the whole thing is like, oh my God, did Kiki shove him off a cliff? It's like, no, she just talked sense into him and told him, stop sleeping with young women and then ghosting them, okay? Like, this is my assistant. Stop it. She basically rolled up some newspaper and whacked him on the nose with it. And he was like, oh, I got it. Okay, don't ghost them. Propose to them instead.
Right.
That's the move.
It's one or the other. You can't just live in a space where you are not dealing with this woman.
Yeah.
That's like, no, 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 no. You have to go do it because you can't help yourself. You're used to getting what you want. You're a billionaire. We see that you do this all the time, and now people are on to you, so you have to lock it down. It was tough to watch too because again, Ethan is like giving her essentially what she's saying that she wants. Right? She's telling us, no, this is important to me. Like I love him. She drops the L word first, and so we're like, oh, she should be happy. But leading up to it, they're breadcrumbs where she's telling this man, "Hey, don't want to talk about my childhood. I grew up in protective care. I grew up in foster care. I don't want to talk about it. It's not. I don't feel comfortable talking to you." And he's like, "Okay, you don't feel comfortable talking to your dad or about your dad. I should go get your dad. I should go get him and bring him here." And it's like instant ick. If she wanted to marry you, that ruined it. Because now her dad, who sucks, who also has dementia, is here staring her in the face, and everyone's saying, leave the cult. And she's like, I don't want to go. So I very much enjoyed that they made kind of like that twist. But there were definitely moments where I was just like, I don't know where this is going. I really, look, if you want to get into my head about the witch thing, Jess, when dementia dad is like struggling and all he thinks is that he's talking to his ex-wife and he's talking to Kiki and Kiki is the only one that he will listen to. I was like, see, she's a siren. She's a siren. And then dad is like, yeah, we used to fuck. I was like, whoa, hold on. Hold on.
Yeah.
It took you out of the drama.
Yeah, there were moments where I was like, that was one of them where I was like, is this a twist? Like, did they? Same
Right.
thing with when Ethan accuses Simone of pushing him off the cliff and that's how he broke his legs. I was like, did she?
Did she?
Like, is that where we're going? Is she the big bad? There were a lot of moments like that where, and I don't even know if the show was trying to make me feel that way. Like, it didn't feel intentional. Like, they were like thinking that you would think that that's the truth. But there were moments like that, right? AJ, like even when I'm thinking of when Simone at the very end, when Simone and Kevin Bacon are on the beach together and she's like, I have to tell you something. I was like, what does she have to tell him? Like, right. I didn't know automatically that it was the photo and that was going to be like a catalyst for everything else that happened. It was like, oh, I thought it was going to be something way bigger than this. Your wife is magical.
Yeah, and that would have been that probably better bow to the whole 5-episode arc there if that were the case, because it justifies the mysticism of the first 2+ episodes. Again, it's interesting because just talking about this is like, look, I didn't write this, so hey, it's not my story to tell. But again, the setup is there for us to then maybe have a flashback to what exactly Kiki said to Ethan on the cliff. And that, like, she was trying to, maybe she said, yeah, no, she wants you to marry, to propose, and why don't you go get the father? Maybe if she pushed him there, again, for more agency, knowing that would break them up, which is why she doesn't want her to be with him, because she wants her to replace, Kiki wants Simone to replace Kiki, and she can't replace if she marries Ethan. So maybe, throw a little more agency in there as well. Yeah, the whole mystery thing, like, I have something to tell you. Like, we had this paralysis of there where she could have just come clean to Kiki in the first place, saying, "Oh, by the way, he did indeed try and kiss me." Or even when she saw the photo, she didn't immediately go into an explanation mode. It was kind of like this last-ditch effort, like, but I couldn't tell you. Like, no, she at that point she could have also done some sort of bigger push towards saying, "No, it's your husband's fault. Please."
Also, why was there a photographer following them around?
Yeah.
What?
Just happened to be over there.
No. Actually, I do think that, as silly as it is, because of course, one photo was he didn't just have one copy of the photo. He didn't have the negatives there. He took many photos of this. So
we have digital.
The blackmail will.
Yeah, digital cameras. Okay, like we don't. It's not just one printout and that's it.
The blackmail will continue. You could argue that this was set in motion because Devin said to him, "Hey, you hear about her killing the husband?" Like, maybe he was pursuing a secondary story, perhaps. So, maybe he had ears to the ground, knowing that, all right, I'll follow him. Maybe he's cheating, and I'll get the cheating photo. some coin on that. So I could see that maybe that was why he was following. Is it a little contrived? Sure. Did I expect that to be what she was going to reveal? No. None of that really made a lot of sense. But it got us to the end. we had 20 minutes left. Let's get there.
Yeah. The twist didn't work for me. That part didn't work for me. I have the random photo, because there was the moment where when Devin first gets there, she sits next to that very same photographer and she's like, "Look, I got dirt. Do you want it?" And he's like, "No, get away from me." Like, he seems so disinterested, and like you have the ability to extort these people for a lot of money. You at least have some dirt, a good story. Maybe you'll get famous or something like that. He has no interest in it. And then at some point, we just see him sitting in the house. And he's just like, "Hey, I'm just waiting here." They're like, "Okay," and they walk right past him. They don't push the issue of why this man is sitting there. And I think it was sitting in the dark too. Like, he's just hanging out. And then next thing you know, it's like, "Oh yeah, I just happened to be minding my own business, taking photos of things, and I saw your husband, and I took the world's clearest photo of them mid-kiss." And the kiss was fast. It wasn't like they were making out. It was like a peck almost, and he got it. So just it's not a coincidence. It can't be.
Yeah, it was stupid. It was dumb. It was just like, okay, sure. I guess that's where we'll go. And it all, I just, all I wanted was for Kiki to trust Simone, and I guess she did, where she believed, like, "Oh, I don't believe you wanted to, like, you want to steal my husband, but still, now you're in the way. You basically tied my hands together. I don't have any choice. I have to get rid of you because you're a threat. And you weren't a threat before, and I was going to ship you off to New York, but now you're a threat and you must go." So it's just, yeah, it was a little bit of a, we're just going to shove this in here because we'll be able to make our plot points connect if we have a photo of that incident. So yeah, that part didn't work for me.
But yeah, and again, like they had enough strands there they could have tied together a little better. It was like, what if the prenup says, like, I can't divorce him, but if he divorces me, I get a little, so way for her to set it up for, oh, well, he's now going to divorce me and I can still get a little bit of bank out of this and escape, and he takes Simone and he doesn't see it coming. I think that to me would have been a much more satisfying ending to this. Again, I wanted someone in this damn show to have agency, and no one seemed to have any agency. Anytime there was an interesting conversation with the staff, it was like, "NDA, we can't talk." Like, no,
right?
These are the conversations I want to hear. No, I'm sorry, can't talk. So
yeah.
Or if they did, it was on the secret text chain that we weren't privy to, and it was just like.
And why do they all have their notifications on for this? Like, turn the sounds off. If you're all going to be getting, like, if you're all going to be shit talking other people, turn off the sound so they don't know that it's happening.
I respect it. I respect it. They're taunting her. I respect it. I respect the move. They're like, because they know she can't do anything about it. Like, short of being like, "Give me your phone," like, there's nothing that they can do to prove it. And even then, when they do, Jose cannot be fired. I thought that was a crazy twist of fate. It's just like, in my contract, like, I was hired before you got here, and somehow this man left a clause in my contract that said, although you are in charge of me, you cannot let me go. So Jose might be a part of the villainy as well. Like, there's why is Jose so protected by this evil man? I'm starting to not trust him, Jess. I know he's staying Jose, but come on.
Oh, I mean, he's the one doing the dirty work. He's doing the cleanup. He's the, like, Mike Ehrmantraut of the show. Like, he goes in, he cleans things up after the fact. He apparently knows the combination to Kiki's safe to get the photo out of there in the first place. Like, yeah, he knows where all the bodies are buried. But I mean, I assume he's paid handsomely, so he's not going to look twice. He's going to be like, and let's be real. Who would you rather have be your boss? The guy who's sitting in the crow's nest, just like smoking a J, hanging out, doesn't really care, wants all the bread and clam chowder in the world in his house, or the woman who says you can't even eat carbs, you're schlepping chairs up and down stairs all day. Of course he's going to side with Kevin Bacon. I would,
Yeah. They make that smoothie for her every day, and she never drinks it, and that was driving me crazy. I love that bit so much, because it was like, "Hey, I have your smoothie. I'm good." It's like, please drink this movie. These
You're
people
a
are doing this.
monster.
Yeah, you're a monster. Like, why are you acting like this?
At least taste it. Give it a taste. Like, give her the satisfaction of like
Pretend.
a little sip and be like, "Oh, that's good."
Yeah.
Come on now.
And we've gone far too long, AJ, without talking about one of my favorite characters, Raymond. Ray from the mainland. This man is also a villain.
Are you talking about the nurse?
Yeah, the nurse.
The nurse.
AKA Manny from Abbott Elementary, Josh Tagara. It was so fun watching him in this role because we are led to believe from the very beginning that he is awful. Like from the very beginning. And yet somehow he manages to work his way to the location. He works his way into the house with them. He's there and essentially fighting for Devin's love while admittingly having a wife and kid at home. Like this man has no intention of leaving his wife. None.
No. But so in the beginning, when we're talking about the sirens, if Devin is the siren that lures him away from his wife, and ultimately is the one who actually reveals to his wife, "Oh, I picked up the phone and answered it. Like, yeah, no, he's here with me. Ha ha. Your guys are gonna get a divorce. Ho ho ho." So Devin's the bad guy in that situation, not him. Obviously he's doing wrong by stepping out on his wife, but if you're going to keep thematically here, he's being lured in and she's the bad guy in this relationship. But yet he actually is taking care of the father. He is like being a good guy and trying to do the right thing. And I thought what would be a nice button for the whole thing is that if at the end he ends up realizing that, if my wife is divorcing me and Devin doesn't want me, I'm going to work with Jose and end up on staff here because this is where I belong. I thought that would have been a nice ending.
Yeah,
as
Ray
opposed
was
to him
really
just, hitchhiking his way back to Buffalo.
That's where I was like, I didn't understand why we continued to follow his story of like, he disappeared. Did he go into the ocean and drown? No, he's in the drunk tank. And then he's going to just get out of a car and somehow make his way home. Like, I don't know. It made very little sense to me. Also, like, I don't buy for a second. He blames Devin for so much. And I am like, sir, you are married, okay? You are married. You can't blame her for anything. Stop it. Stop blaming her for things when you are the one putting your you-know-whats where it doesn't belong. Stop it. Too much.
Yeah. She tried to, like, I guess she finally got there, but it was like, you're bad for me. You are bad. Like, I understand you're doing a thing, helping me with my dad, but one, I had to bribe you for that. Like, I'm blackmailing you, so you essentially have to help me. He's like, I can't fire you. She's like, yeah, I know, because I'm going to tell your wife. But the flip side of Raymond is that, kind of like what AJ was saying, yeah, he's awful, but he's like the one person who sees her. He's like, man, she was the track captain and she was the prom queen. And like, I understand that she has self-worth. Like, she's great. This woman is everything. Like, she's not giving herself enough credit. Meanwhile, I'm like, but you still suck. You still aren't giving her enough credit too, because why are you like, why do you have her like as a side piece? If she's that great, you should release her. And so he doesn't actually sever ties with her until his entire world has been torn apart, and he has to hitchhike back to Buffalo in order to save his marriage or have some type of semblance of a relationship with his child. So I liked Raymond's character. I thought he was a mess.
Yeah. Oh, he's a definite mess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every character is messy on this show. And credit to him for being like a really good bit of comic relief when he shows up. Like, I also loved the inclusion. I like when a show has like a fixation or an obsession on a very, very specific thing. So in this case, like the Buffalo Bills football team, they were like, it was a big thing. We had like Buffalo Bills shirts, like they're from Buffalo. The reason they want to say to go to the gala is because there's going to be like this famous Buffalo Bills football player. And I love Yes, of course, obviously. And I love that it's the first thing that Devin and Jose are able to connect over. It's like, oh, you're a Bills fan. Oh, I'm a Dolphins fan. It's like, oh, at the Chiefs, like, at the Chiefs or whatever.
Yeah.
It's so good. And she's like,
So
yeah,
good.
go Bills. Like, it's just, I really like when there's like specific character notes like that, because I do think it like, I mean, I don't care about football or sports in general, but I like that those are like beats that those characters have.
Okay, so we talked about the major characters, but I have to ask, AJ, this is a limited series, question mark. It's over. Do you think there's more story to tell? I know you kind of hinted at like some of the background characters, but what if Netflix was like, hey, this did really well, we wanted to bring it back? Could you see this having a season 2?
Well, sure, because anything can have a season 2. I mean,
Yeah.
if they throw enough money at it, there should not be a season 2 of this. I mean, Hulu that brought back 9 Perfect Strangers with 9 other Perfect Strangers now, basically.
Random strangers.
That's a train wreck of a show. There's some great comedy in there, but it shouldn't be a comedy at all. So it's like, nothing about that. But yeah, no, like I said, I would love to see these background characters again. I would love to see, maybe more of them when Simone's not there. She's off. It's just them. Just them. Maybe like a Benoit Blanc type of murder mystery going on in the house with these side characters. That I would like, although, but that's just The Residence, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest. So, yeah, I don't need to see these characters ever again. But any of these actors who go in other things, I'm gonna think of them fondly from their roles in this, absolutely, and probably tune in just to see what they're up to.
Jess, what if the world is we got season 2, and we have Simone is the new queen bee, and we're following a whole new young up and comer who will now be trying to challenge her for her spot. Is there anywhere where we can make that work, or does Sirens season 2 need to be just a completely different cast of Sirens and a different cast of background characters, like a White Lotus situation?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if anything, you'd have to White Lotus it. Like, it would have to be an anthology, because this is a 1-season show. We need to stop trying to take limited series and make them into full-blown shows. Like, I'm looking at you, 4 Seasons that just got renewed for a season 2. What you doing? Stop it, okay? You had your time.
Jess,
you used it. We're done.
Jess, you are so right, Jess. There are people out there who said, "Can we have Adolescence season 2?" I'm like, are you people mad?
What? Okay.
I'm like, do you not understand?
To be hurt.
Do you not understand what you just watched was a masterpiece? Just leave. Can we just let the masterpiece sit? Please.
I didn't even need adolescent season. I didn't even need episode 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. Like, I was good. I was good with the little bubble we got. Like, they're talking about another season. I didn't need any more information. It was great, and it was perfect. It was perfect, and it was traumatic, and all that good stuff. But that you're right. They just can't leave money on the table sometimes.
They can't leave it alone. They can't leave it alone. They see the big names, and they're like, they get dollar signs in their eyes, and it's a tale as old as time. Like, you can, but did you ever stop to think about if you should? Okay, like, stop it. You're done. You had your time. Move on.
Indeed.
Yeah. So that's Sirens in a nutshell. AJ, is there anything that we missed that you want to talk about?
No, I think we covered it very well. Like I said, I thought this was exactly the type of show that I want on Netflix. Something that, in between their series of loves being blind and ultimatums being made and perfect matches and circles and all that reality stuff, and while we're still waiting on Tadoom's preview shows to come 6 months ahead with trailers that I don't want to see because I don't want to be spoiled on anything, this is exactly what I want to see. I want to see 4, 5, 6 episodes tops, story, beginning, middle, end. Take some chances with genre, have fun with it, chew the scenery, and then just go away. Never come back. Just put the money on the next one. Just come up with something new next time, because that to me is that's what Netflix is for. That's what we need. I don't need what other networks are doing. I'm looking at you, Showtime, and not only a Dexter prequel, but now a Dexter sequel to a character that we all know was dead. And so the prequel doesn't make sense because there's nothing more to mine there because you're doing reveals that we already know because we watched the original show. And now you're coming back with a resurrection. No, stop. I understand it's a cash cow. I don't need Stranger Things coming back in 10 years with like, hey, I know we're all 50 now, but we're gonna play 20-year-olds. No, just stop it, please, stop it. Give me new ideas, but hit it, do it, get out, move on.
Yeah, Jess, where did this rank amongst your rich white people shows?
Yeah, it's like middle of the pack, I'd say. Like, it was an enjoyable time. I do think it works really well as like a beginning of summer show because we are on, we're in the New England area. It's summer. Everyone's wearing their like lovely summer dresses. I think it works perfectly for the time that it came out. 5 episodes. I'm in, you're out. Dust off your hands, move on with your life. Like, I think it's a decent showing. Acting is better than the writing, but I'm not mad that I watched it. I enjoyed my time watching it, and I think it let me think about a couple of things. And that's good stuff. What's not to like?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this too. AJ mentioned To Doom, but I watched that recently, and yeah, To Doom is really highlighting the greatest hits that are coming back to Netflix. Stranger Things, Wednesday, and so they are bringing things back. But this, to me, is fine. We don't need to bring it back. And so, if you're listening to this, and you really liked Sirens or you hated it, let us know in the YouTube comments on RHAP's YouTube account, or you can leave a comment on Nothing But Netflix and tell you how much you love me. 5-star reviews only. That would be nice. But in the meantime, before I wrap too much, did y'all watch To Doom? Jess, did you see it?
No, I listened to you all recap it on Tastemakers because who has time for that? I don't have time for that nonsense.
There was a Lady Gaga concert in the middle of the Netflix thing.
Yeah. In the middle. What is this, the Grammys? What are we doing here?
No, it was, look, I don't need all the Squid Game because I'm going to watch Squid Game. You don't have to sell me on Squid Game. I'm coming back for Squid Game. But I did kind of enjoy the pink guard dance routine. It was very Jabberwockies,
Yes.
ABDC kind of. Okay, I enjoyed that, and then that went on too long. I didn't need the whole Knives Out shtick that they were doing. I certainly didn't need the Outer Banks cast coming on to tell me that they're coming back for another season. Like, okay, whatever. And I watch Outer Banks, but it's just like. I will watch these shows. You have me. I don't need previews of something that's going to be 6 months down the line. And then, you embarrass yourself when you can only get 3 of the Stranger Things cast to show up. And all they can do is they really have nothing to show us. It's like, hey, remember season 1? Here's some behind the scenes. Like, no. Just tell me the dates you're showing it. But the Lady Gaga concert was very good because Lady Gaga, she's amazing. She's amazing.
I sat through all of that and I was treated with the Lady Gaga concert, so I shan't complain. But those Stranger Kids things, those kids, they're older than me. They're older than me.
Kids, yes.
They're not kids anymore. The kids have kids. It's embarrassing, Netflix, but that's Netflix. They can't leave the money on the table. They have to bring a thing back. It has to have a binge drop. It has to do they're bringing back Happy Gilmore. Like, Happy Gilmore is getting a sequel, and it's been forever ago. Forever. Who was waiting on a Happy Gilmore too? So, I don't know, y'all. This is what we got here on Netflix.
We are living in the world where they are rebooting the movie The Faculty. That's the world we live in right now.
Did they tell Usher? Does he know?
I don't know if any of the original cast is coming back for it, but yeah. So, and Star Search is coming back. Speaking of Usher Raymond,
Star Search
is coming back.
God.
Yeah, as if we needed another singing competition. But yeah, so if you want to keep up with what's going on Netflix, of course, tune in here every week to the Nothing But Netflix podcast, nothingbutpod.com. Make sure you go in and subscribe, or make sure you watch us on YouTube on the RHAP YouTube account, where we'll be dropping the Nothing But Netflix episodes on video now. Remember, 5-star reviews, comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. AJ, what's going on in your world?
Absolutely nothing. This is like the first
Cool.
podcast I've done since I think I was on with Jess talking about Buffy on her podcast, and hers will probably be the next one I'm on. But you know, if you want to talk to me about anything in the world of sports or television, you know, you can find me on the Blueski at AJ Mass.
Yeah. Thanks, AJ. Thank you for being here. And of course, thank you for the suggestion. Because I don't know if I would have watched this without you. But I'm so happy that I did.
This was fun.
Yeah, great time. But we used to talk about another thing, but we won't get into that. Jess, what's going on in your world? You still talking shit?
I am still talking shit. If you want to listen to a Schitt's Creek podcast, go find Talking Shit everywhere. And if you're in the mood for some 90s content, some Buffy, some Felicity, check out Shit 90 Shows Taught Me. And we're talking about both. We're in season 4 of both of those shows. And I gotta say, I don't know if this is a spicy take. If you love Buffy and you're not a big fan of season 4, I just have to say you're wrong, because it's really fun. It's a fun time, okay? It's a good hang. So chill out. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
All right, you Buffy season 4 haters, you're on notice. But yes, that's it. That's Nothing But Netflix. Make sure you check out AJ and Jess when they talk about Buffy and other things. And then, of course, make sure you tune in every week here and check me out over on my podcast, recapkickback.com. Go there, subscribe, recapkickback.com/subscribe, and then check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@recapkickback. Because I'm going to start a Flavor of Love rewatch. I'm going to do that. That's happening.
Oh my God, incredible.
And so everybody's welcome to come join me. I think we're going to do it live on YouTube. So
that's fun.
We're just
Nice.
making stuff up over on Recap Kickback. So tune in to that. And then, of course, tune in next time for Nothing But Netflix. But until then, peace.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.